Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're good. Yalla, I'll wait a couple of minutes for everyone to join. I'm taking a walk before my class in a bit, and I wanted to multitask and walk and speak to you at the same time. This is going to be a very, very important discussion. It's not a lesson, but it's a very important discussion for those of you who are learning Arabic. So the last time I was live in the street and I was doing a lesson, somebody tried to attack my hand and steal my phone. So this time I'm being a bit like conscious and looking around and not being so clumsy as always. But the good thing is that because it's not a lesson, so I don't have to concentrate as much, so I can respond to your questions and comments and all of that. So I want to talk today about 6 things we can take into consideration. We can take into consideration while we are learning Arabic. Why 6? I don't know. I was thinking about the ideas before I came online, and I thought, yes, there are 6 very important things I want to talk about for anyone who wants to learn not just Arabic, mostly Arabic of course, but almost everything else we learn in life. Okay? So, number 1, I'm gonna try to stay in the streets that are not too noisy so you could hear me. So number 1 is, I have a lot of times students who come to me and tell me, okay, I want to learn Arabic, I want to speak Arabic, spoken Arabic. I mean in my case I'm speaking about the Levantine dialect, for example. I want to learn it, but I don't want to read and write. Okay? It's like you're going to a shop and you're saying, hi, I want to buy this dress, but can you cut the sleeve? I don't want the sleeve. Or I want this pair of jeans, but I want just one side of the jeans and I don't want the other side of the jeans. It's that important, because even if your purpose is just to speak with people, okay, at the end of the day it depends on why you're learning a language. If you're learning a language just because you're gonna memorize a couple of phrases here and there, wait, here it's gonna be noisy, but then it's gonna stop being noisy when I cross. 1 second. Now there's so many cars. Wait. So, if you can hear me, I can keep going. Can you hear me? Can you? Let me know. Ya Allah. It's not usually that busy, but suddenly it's... Okay, that's the last car. Let's cross. Okay, so I was saying, even if your purpose is just to speak a language, okay? I have students who come to me and say, okay, I don't want to learn to write, I just want to speak. Okay, if your purpose is just to speak one sentence here, memorize a few phrases, fine, you can do that. But for me, I can't do it. As a serious teacher who wants to teach the language properly, in the right way, yes, I am being careful, Vika. So, I can't just say to them, okay, come, learn the phrases, learn speaking without writing. I just feel I'm kind of lying to them or misleading them. So, I can't stress for you how important it is also to write. Now, you tell me, oh, but in Lebanon, we don't use the Arabic script. It's true, like now, for example, if I'm speaking to my sister on WhatsApp, personally, even as an Arabic teacher, I never ever use the Arabic keyboard, okay? I always use the English letters, even if I'm speaking Arabic to her. For example, let's say I would say Kifik, how are you? I write K-I-F-I-K in English, okay? Yes, we do that, but it doesn't mean learning the Arabic script is not important. 1, it's very important, first because when you're writing things down, you're improving your fluency. You're repeating the word in your head, so it will help you speak. Number 1. Hi, Erika. Number 2. مثل هيك. Yanni. Like Yanni is writing, yeah. Number 2. let's say now you're an absolute beginner. It's fine, you can get away with it for a while. You can get away with learning Arabic without reading and writing. But there comes a point where you become a little bit more, let's say, you want to proceed, you want to learn more intermediate to advanced things, and you will need books, you will need resources, you will need courses. Thank you, Erica. So in that case, what will you do? There will always be a gap in your learning. So from the beginning, start learning the alphabet. Yani, I don't understand why not do that. Especially, I have a news for you. In my opinion, the easiest part of learning Arabic is the script. Okay, it's not easy. I'm not saying, oh, it's easy. It's easy for you to do it, but it's not as difficult as people imagine. You can actually learn it in 6 to 7 lessons, and then of course you need to practice until it becomes in your head, you know. But it's not as difficult as people think, because it's a very logical structure. It's a very logical script, you know. It's like math, like geometry. One thing leads to another, you know. So in my absolute beginners courses, by the end of the course, everybody knows how to read and write while they're speaking. If you can do it, why avoid it? Again, it's like buying a pair of jeans and saying, I'm just gonna buy half of it. Can you cut it for me? I don't need all of it. Cut it for me. And then I will buy like just the pocket of the jeans, or, you know, okay? And unfortunately, and really sadly, I have students who came to me before. They were really so interested in learning the Arabic, but it's because they feel like they don't have the, how can I say, the enthusiasm to go back to the absolute beginners class. They don't continue. Why? Because at some point they were taught without the script, so they feel they are intermediate now or advanced, and maybe it's an ego, or maybe it's not an ego, lack of motivation to go back to point zero, because it's not easy to go to point zero sometimes, you know. And sadly, they don't continue, they stop, okay? The only people who have an excuse to speak Arabic without knowing how to read and write are those who were born in an Arabic family with Arabic speaking parents, and they picked up the language and they never learned to read and write. Fine. But even those, it really depends on the people. I have people who really have the motivation to say, yes, okay, I'm gonna go to the start and I'm gonna learn from the start. A lot of students do that, but it's not easy, and unfortunately a lot of people don't do that and they end up not continuing. That's number one. So tip number one, if you want to learn Arabic, please start learning it properly using the Arabic script. Tip number two, that's very, very important, and also I believe anyone who says otherwise is kind of misleading you. Okay, imagine I go to a ballet class, okay, and the teacher tells us it's day one, okay, and the teacher tells us, okay, just dance. Yalla, dance, all of us, let's just dance, okay? And she's dancing, doing all the beautiful movements, and we look like elephants, okay, and we're not knowing how to move, right? Okay, and imagine the second scenario, when you are in a ballet class, day one, and your teacher is very meticulous. Thank you, Erica. And your teacher is very meticulous, and she really stops at every movement, tells you how to do your arms, how to point your feet, how to turn out, how to move your finger, how this and how that. That's technique, right? You need technique to be able to dance. You can't just dance like that. And the technique when it comes to learning the Arabic language is what? Can you tell me what, guys? What is it? I'll wait for you to tell me. What do you think the technique is when it comes to learning the language? Not reading, no. Because I put reading and writing in the same category of the Arabic script. It's the grammar. Grammar. Okay? So, if you don't know the grammar of the language, you will... Can you hear this background noise, or you don't? Because I'm walking, and at the same time I'm monitoring how many calories I burn and whatever. So I get this app that tells me stuff. Okay, so if you don't learn grammar, again, okay, another noisy street. I cross it and then it will be less noisy again. So if you're not learning your grammar, you're not learning the language. Yes, it's important to speak. Yani, a good balance is always important. If a ballet teacher tells you just dance, you're not going to be able to dance. If a ballet teacher is just focusing on the technique and never puts music on for you to experiment it, and is just focusing on the technique, you will get frustrated, stressed, and all of that. So the same applies to language. You need a good balance between speaking and grammar. And if not, you're not learning the language. Anyone who says grammar is not important, I don't think they are teaching you properly with all humility. Okay? So please learn your grammar properly while you are also learning Arabic and also speaking, of course. Now, Erica mentioned, is it reading? Yes, reading is in number one in my opinion, because when you learn to read, to write, you're also learning to read. Okay? I actually want to make a seventh point which came to my head now. Okay? Point number 7, I will add it now in the end. Okay, so reading and writing, number 1. Number 2, grammar, a good balance between grammar and speaking. Okay. Number 3, I want to add it here. It's so now we have 8 points, Erica, because Erica said pronunciation. Pronunciation is, يعني, put everything aside and pronunciation on its own to one side. That's how important pronunciation is. Because if you don't know words, you can learn them. If you don't know whatever, you can learn it. But imagine wrong pronunciation sticking in your head for a lifetime. Oh my God. It's easier to teach someone from scratch than to clean somebody's learning. So pronunciation is extremely, extremely, extremely important. Which will lead me now to point... let's say pronunciation is point 3. Let's go to point 4. Repetition, 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 repetition. يعني, I've been listening to a guy called Eric Lofholm, and he says you have to listen to this audio program at least 7 times. And he gives the example of us memorizing songs. And he says, did you ever sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna memorize this song? You never did. Actually, I always say, no, I did. When I used to be 12, 13, I used to write down the lyrics and want to memorize it, and wanted to impress a guy I used to be in love with, Elias, to sing the song in English because he was an English speaker. So anyways, the point is, he says, like, as adults at least, we never say, okay, I'm gonna memorize this song, right? We just memorize it without knowing why. Because when we're driving, if you hear the song 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, you memorize it. That's why listening and listening and listening and listening is way more important than anything else when you're learning Arabic. Especially when you're hearing audios that are recorded slowly to help you with your pronunciation. يعني, if I'm saying this sentence in Arabic, let's say اليوم رحت لعند الماما رجعت نزلت معها على السوق اشترينا أغراض لا you might understand it if you're advanced. But if I say اليوم رحت لعند الماما, you have time to repeat after me. رحنا على السوق اشترينا أغراض, you have time to repeat after me. So keep on repeating. Don't just do your Arabic classes when you're in class with your teacher, but repeat your Arabic when you're cooking, when you're walking. Like now I'm walking, I'm multitasking, right? You can do the same when you're walking. put it in your ear and listen and repeat. Say out loud. Hear, say. Hear, say. When you have the time, hear, pause, say. Hear, pause, say. When you're cooking, when you're doing sports, on the treadmill, always listen to it, and it will sink in. So this is point number 4. Point number 5. I also feel that I think every point I'm saying this is the most important, but actually every point is extremely important. Write every single detail down. If you don't write it down, your brain might retain, 5-10% of the information. But if you write it down, for some reason, I don't know, it's part of our, it's how our brain is made. We can memorize things much better. And when I say write down, sometimes I look at the notebooks of my students. Oh my God, I'm scared to look at it. Because clutter, do you say clutter even when it comes to handwriting? شو عم بتنفس من طيزة. I'm breathing from my ass. That's an expression I should put on TikTok today. Not that much, but when you speak and walk, you just breathe faster. So when you on your page, there's so much just looking at the page is scary already. That's not gonna work. And you don't write one day on a piece of paper and another day on a notebook and so no. Have a nice, like a hardbound, whatever, journal or notebook, and make sure everything is nicely written there with a nice handwriting, with different colors, with highlighters, because like that your brain is kind of dividing the information, and it's easier for it to swallow the information rather than just everything is on the page and it's like scary to read. Even when I look at a book, sometimes I open a book. There was a fitness book that I wanted to read. I still didn't read it. It's still there. I only read chapter 1 because looking at the book makes me feel like, oh my God, there's so much information on one page. I'm not even able to look at it. It's very demotivating to read. So make it a very nice and soothing experience to read and write. That way, hi John, that way your brain will memorize the information. I want to tell you something that I experienced. I swear, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I'll tell you. If it might be a coincidence, it might be just whatever. Let me tell you what is it. I was teaching a guy back in September. I don't think the type of this guy exists a lot. Every now and then you get that, kind of like that genius brain that suddenly is taking in all the information, like you're shocked. How can somebody even learn to read and write in 4 days? Can you imagine? In 4 days. Okay, maybe that's some guy with some, high IQ or whatever. Maybe, whatever. It exists. It's very rare when you're learning a language to learn it in that way. But in any case, you know what that guy was doing? Every single thing I was telling him, he was writing it down nicely in a notebook with underlining whatever. Even when he wanted to cross something out that was a mistake, he wasn't just crossing it out. He was just crossing it out, doing a square around it or a circle around it, and then coloring that circle in a way like he was creating a design out of that mistake that he was crossing out. My point is, if you looked at his notebook, it looked really decent and comfortable to look at, and maybe that was just a way his brain was retaining information. Okay? So when you're learning Arabic, please have all your information in one place. Especially if you're a beginner. Let's say you're learning to read and write. You're learning the alphabet. At the end of your notebook, have a list of the letters. It would be like your Bible to refer to every now and then. Okay, I'm writing a word. I need the middle form of the be. I need the initial form of the alif. I need the final form of the re. You have it there in front of you. If it's there in front of you, so you remove the element of guessing. It becomes something that is just really practical, like math. You're looking at it. This plus this equals this. Okay, I'm writing my word. Okay, so far we spoke about how many points? Grammar, very important to learn grammar. We spoke about the importance of learning to actually read and write with the Arabic script, even if your purpose is just to speak. We spoke about the importance of pronunciation. We spoke about the importance of repetition, and listening. We spoke about the importance of writing. Now, look, guys, there is an Armenian church in London. Can you see it? I'm gonna come close to it to show it to you. So, I don't know if I'm in point 5 or 6 now. The next point is the importance of structure in your learning experience. يعني, I always say this to my students. Maybe if you follow my page, you hear me say it at the beginning of every video and at the end of every video. If you want to learn just to impress in a fun way one of your family members, you just want them to hear you say one phrase here, one phrase there, and you're not really, like, your aim is not to really speak the language properly and master it, it's fine. In that case, you can learn a few things here and there on social media. But structure is extremely important when you're learning anything. Not just when, hi Elif. Elif is doing my 30-day challenge course. Not just when you're learning a language, when you're doing anything. And the same applies to when you're learning Arabic. You need structure. You need a course plan. You need a roadmap. You need to know what you're learning. So sometimes people come and tell me, wait, I'm going to interrupt you to show you the church. It's really nice. It's like a piece of Armenia, same architecture in the middle of London. Anyways, so I was saying sometimes, what was I saying? Oh, structure. So sometimes people come and ask me, okay, how much time do I need to learn Arabic? Okay, I can't tell you again. I gave you the example of this genius guy who wrote How to Read and Write in 4 days. But what I can promise you is, okay, this is the plan. On week 1, you will learn this, and this. On week 2, for example, you will learn, let's say, how to order coffee in a restaurant, how to write the letters, let's say, dal, zal, ra, zain. On week, whatever, and more goals. On week 3, you will achieve this. On week 4, you will achieve this. So, structure. A course plan, a roadmap, something that tells you where you're going. I'm not just walking in the street randomly like I am walking now. No, you know where you're going from one point to another. So structure is very important. And finally, there are 2 very important points, and these are psychological points. I have students sometimes who feel disappointed with themselves, and I feel they are very hard on themselves because they feel that learning Arabic is difficult and they are not going as fast as they wish or speaking suddenly to people. So be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself. Know already that the simple fact that you took the step to learn a language is something impressive, and people appreciate just the fact that you're trying to learn their language to speak to them. Okay, that's already very cute even. Okay, when you say one word here, one word there. It's fine if you're not fluent. Okay, at the end of the day, I always say to my, I don't always say it, so that I don't feel, I don't make it look like my work is completely irrelevant or unimportant. But at the end of the day, I'm just teaching a language. Okay, yes, languages are important to connect to people and learn their culture and all of that. But there's way more important things. I'm not sending people to the NASA. I'm not creating medicines. I'm not curing a disease. These are the important things in life, okay? At the end of the day, I'm just teaching a language. And who cares if you didn't learn it, I know it could be important to you and it's nice to learn it. It's a bonus. So it's an extra thing. So you're already doing something nice, okay? So be nice to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Everybody has a different learning ability, speed, whatever. Just think about one thing. Last month, like now, did you know what you know today? No, okay, that's already like somewhere, okay? That's an improvement. So that's one point. And finally, always take it at your own pace. You don't have to be at the pace of everyone else. You don't have to compare yourself to other people who are okay learning. Okay, they became better than me. They are fat. No, everyone has their own pace. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to yourself. So I'm gonna repeat for those of you who just came very quickly the very 6, 7, 8 points. If you have questions, yalla, type them in the comment box so I can answer your questions. But I hope this was a useful. It's not even a discussion because I'm speaking on my own and some people commented. So if you have any questions, yalla, type it down. So the most important things to take into consideration when it comes to learning Arabic. Number 1, learn to read and write Arabic. It's extremely important, otherwise there will always be a gap in your learning experience. Number 2, learn the grammar while you're learning to speak. There should be a very nice balance between speaking and learning the grammar, because you need technique. Just like I gave the example of dancers who try to dance without having technique, that doesn't work. Same in language, you need grammar to be able to speak a language. Number 3, you need repetition. At least 7 times hear something until it sinks in your brain. When you're walking, when you're doing something else. Have a journal, have a hardbound notebook to have things written down very clearly with highlighters, with colors. Something that makes you feel safe when you're actually writing it while you're learning. Number 5, we spoke about the importance of picking up correct pronunciation by listening as well a lot. We spoke about number 6, the importance of having a structure while you're learning a language. You can't just learn a language on social media. You need a structure, you need a course, whether you attend it in a university, at school, privately with a teacher. Even I'm not a big fan of private lessons. I think you get a lot more when you're in a group and you're discussing, but not just because of that, because private lessons means you either have to do it intensively every day, and most people don't have the financial ability to do that. So the cheaper option would be doing it as a group. No matter what you choose a teacher that gives you a good structure and tells you what your goals are and tells you where you are going in your learning journey. And finally, we spoke about the importance of being kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, take things at your own pace, don't be hard on yourself. And did we say something else? I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna leave you now and walk properly. Do you have any questions before I go? Sure. No. يلا خلاص. Enough for today. بكفي بقى حكي. يلا. See you soon guys. Bye. Merci.